Well, hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on the Supernatural Show, the show that is not intended for entertainment purposes only. And today we're going to be talking about some controversial stuff, probably. And so hold on to your hats because we're going to get right on into it here, pretty much. Although we are going to check in on y'all guys in the chat here. I put up a hello, Captain Howdy. I put up in St. John. Hey, buddy, how you doing? And see Walter. Good to see y'all guys here. I put up a poll in the chat that well, I'll click on it here. Do you believe there will be a third attempt on Mr. T? Right? And my answer, most of you probably know what my answer would be. Right now we're at 87-13, which means about two of you are saying no, and about 10 of you are saying yes, or something like that. Whoop, now we got 17 votes. Anyways, we are at 88-12. I think that there will be, and not only that, it's likely going to go further than that. It may even take into account additional people because they're wanting, this is the grand show here we're watching, okay? It's a show. It's the world is a stage, and everything we're seeing going on is staged. It's controlled events, even just like this last one they said on the golf course. But I think this is because this is the grand show. They're going to just go. It's going to be like one of these movies you see where it just goes off the deep end, and that's where we're headed. Is to that kind of a place. Now, not us, not me and you, because we know the truth. We see the truth, and we know not to invest ourselves in these things, neither emotionally, but we do talk about these things because it's influencing the minds of people out there, and we want at least one avenue out there of somebody who's got some sense and is willing to be brave enough to stand up and speak it. And well, that's me. And so I have another poll I'm going to do here in just a minute as well. It's going to be a tough one for you to answer, and I'm going to answer it too. And the question is going to be for the next poll I'm going to do here in a minute is how many of you, and you're going to have to be truthful about this, and nobody's going to see who said yes or no or whatever, but how many of you believe at any point in your life that you believe that a woman having a DNC is okay? The other word, the abort word, they call it that, but technically the procedure is called a DNC. And isn't it just interesting that the number one thing that this party, the Democratic National Party, the DNC, the number one thing they stand on is that platform of child sacrifice. They give it fancy names and put the word freedom with it. You have the freedom to murder your child. And because that's what we're talking about here, you see all the people in the background back here, they're standing back here holding their signs back here, reproductive freedom. And right on the podium of the supposed candidate for the United States of America is right on there. Her number one thing, what is it? Reproductive freedom. Meaning they want the right to sacrifice their child to their God. And who is their God? Well, they have many names for this God. One name is Satan, or the dragon, the great red dragon, the one that, was after the babe in Revelations. The woman was giving birth, and there he was, right? He's been after the seed from the very beginning, and they're still after it. And they're still doing it. They're still trying to kill off the seed, right? And they even put it right in your face. This picture here is right off of Kamala's website, okay? You know, they're wanting your money, and they want it so that they can have the right to kill the children. I mean, what insane planet are we on that someone running for president, okay, and this is their platform they stand on? And how many people out there could actually vote for this? Okay. Now, I realize that all of us have through different periods in our life, as we've matured, have changed our opinions on things, okay? There was a time when I thought that maybe it was okay for a DNC to be done. And I was always like, well, maybe if it was because of this circumstance, or maybe if it was because of this circumstance. But the truth behind it is we don't have the right to choose whether someone gets to live or not. Becca Loves Jesus says you can't see the comments in the chat. It depends on what channel you're on, Becca. If you're on the Supernatural.Show channel, you'll be able to see some comments there. But if you're on Logic Before Authority, because I'm broadcasting on 2 different YouTube channels and 2 different Facebook accounts and Instagram and DLive and Kick.com and a couple of others. So I'm broadcasting to a bunch of places. So all the comments don't show up that you're seeing on the screen over here. These comments those are feeding in from Logic Before Authority. These comments right here. Those are Logic Before Authority account comments. I can't, at least at this moment, I cannot make all the comments come in to where everybody can see them, unfortunately, because I'm broadcasting on 8 platforms around the world. So may at some point be able to get that done, but not right now. So we ended up on this poll. Let's do this other poll. And then I got a bunch of things to show you and talk about with you. But let's start this other poll. So this one was, do you believe there will be a 3rd attempt on T? And we have 85% yes. We have 26 votes. 85 yes, 15 no. And yeah, they're going to do it again. And they're going to get real creative with the way they're doing it. And not any of them are going to really make any sense, just like this last one didn't make any sense. It's like, how is it that this guy even knew where T was playing golf at? Well, because they told him, because this guy, if you look him up and start digging into him, ignore the stuff that you're getting from mainstream, okay? And start looking at, even just looking at the man, he looks like a CIA long-nosed Jewish operative. Just look at the picture, okay? That bridge of that nose, I'm not saying this is a fact, okay? I'm saying this is what it looks like, okay? But this guy, he's like a CIA operative, okay? He comes into the scene. They said they turned him back over to the federal government because it's a federal investigation, blah, blah, blah. He's sipping martinis somewhere right now. That's the truth behind it. This man is no more in jail right now than me or you are. Okay. That's my opinion, but I bet you it is correct. Now let's do another poll here. Y'all guys can see this. Have you ever thought a DNC, and we know what that word means. It's the word for it's the procedure name for the actual act of killing a child, okay? In the womb, no less. Okay. Have you ever thought a DNC was okay at any point in your life? Now, what I'm wanting here when I launched this is I'm wanting truth. I am not proud of the fact that I thought at some point in the past, this has been many years ago, decades ago, when I was a younger man, that I thought that there may be a legitimate reason why we should take the life of an infant in the womb because we suspect that maybe it's not viable, or we suspect that it was a rape, or we suspect whatever it is. Was there ever a reason that you thought that it was okay? That's the truth I want to hear. No one's going to know, at least not publicly here, who says what to this answer. I'm admitting the fact that I did at one point consider those things. Now, at this point, it's the most vile thing I could ever imagine for a mother to choose. And I know there can be some tough situations, but to choose to kill, to murder, it's murder, the child in her womb. That is something that God himself chooses. He chooses it with all of us, life and death and all these things. We have no right, in my opinion, to go in, step in, and take that away from God. So let's go ahead and launch the poll, and I'm going to let it run for a while. Okay, so the poll's there. And just be honest. I'm interested to know what y'all guys think, have thought in the past, and how are all of our minds, maybe some of our minds have changed. Maybe some of you still think that there's a reason why it would be okay. And that's for you to work on. For me, I'm across the line with there is no situation, none, where we have the right to take a child's life. Even if that life was going to be difficult, or even if that life was going to be hard for the parents. Maybe it was a rape, okay? But we don't have the right to make that choice, is where I stand. But like I said, in the past, I thought a little bit different. All right, so let's see here. The voting is starting, so we'll let that go there. All right, let me bring me back in here, and let me start showing you a few things here. Okay, we're going to go in several directions with this show, okay? But including, we're going to, okay, who are these people sacrificing these children to? There are many names for him, but it's ultimately Satan. They can call him Baal. They can call him whatever they want, but ultimately it's Satan is who they're sacrificing these children to. And I'm going to say something a little controversial right now. In my opinion, in the Bible, there are two gods. I've thought this for a long time, but sometimes when you think something, it's not something you should speak. It's something that you should ponder. It's something you should think about. It's something you should consider. But it's not something you should speak with any haste, especially a statement like that, like there's more than one God in the Bible. And you'll be reading the Bible, and it seemingly seems like we're talking about the Almighty God in heaven. And I don't have a list of verses here that I'm going to show you, but there are a lot of passages in the Bible that make me think that, well, let me put it like this. Who is the God of Israel? Well, everybody's going to come up with different names and such, right? Who is the God of Israel? That brings up a lot of thoughts, right? Well, they say, the God of Israel is the Almighty. It's the same one that wants them, because see, Israel and the so-called Jews say that reproductive freedom is a right for them. As a matter of fact, I think I have, let's see here. I have a thing pulled up here. Where is it? Here we go. So this is just a Google search. It says Jewish right abortion. And you get all, and I'm on the news tab, you get all of these articles, of course, about Jewish people talking about that it's their religious liberty right to have a DNC. And I really am not taught. I believe there are two different sets of people who call themselves Jews. They're the ones that are not true Jews, and the ones that are. The ones that are not true Jews are pretenders, and they're the ones that are running the world. Okay, so I'm not pointing at all people who call themselves Jews here. Okay, I want it to be understood. You got, and I mean, there's just tons of them here. Okay, about that they believe that it's their religion. Okay, so if it's their religion, who is their God? Because that's where that law is supposed to come from, right? Saying that their God says that they have a right to kill their children under certain circumstances. You see, before Christ came into this world, there were a lot of sacrifices taking place, and that the Old Testament talks about, and that in fact that they were supposed to do this. The Bible goes through and says, get this spotless lamb and sacrifice it and do all these things. But once Christ came into this world, once God came manifest in his own image here in this world, in the version of what we would call a son, okay, and he was sacrificed as part of the prophecy that he knew he was here for. He was here to take away the need for sacrifice. Therefore, there is no more sacrifice, and sacrifice of a child is an abomination in front of God, the Almighty God. Okay, it is one of like a couple of the worst things you can possibly do is to do this. And I know right now that there is someone that's listening to me right now that has done this or had part in it somehow, maybe. And I know now also you probably regret that and wish that you had never made those choices, and you've seen the light and you've changed your ways and you've repented of these things and you've been forgiven. if you've repented of these things, knowing how terrible it was. As a matter of fact, I had a show we did one day where a really wonderful lady came on and she was crying and really upset, and because she had killed her children, and she admitted it live on the show here, that she had DNCs done and killed her children. And it's a really awful thing. But I believe God is a merciful God. I believe that God knows that we fall into the traps and the ways of Satan in this world. And I also know that he knows that we can come out of it. And that's the whole goal, is for us to realize we've done wrong. You repent and turn away. That's what repent means, to turn around, to turn away, to turn back. And I know you now know that that is not something that is okay. So if you're listening to this and you're hearing me talk about this, understand that I'm not your judge. I'm only expressing my opinion about it. The judge is in heaven, the Almighty God. And I do know that he is a merciful God, because if he wasn't, I would not be alive, because I've already done things in my life that absolutely should have took my life, but they didn't. I was spared multiple times. And that's a lot with why I do what I do now. I appreciate all your guys' comments. I see quite a bit of comments coming in from all the different platforms. And if you're on Facebook, because I can see that there are people on Facebook watching as well, I appreciate you coming and watching this show today. Let's see how we're doing on our poll here. There's a poll in the comments. It's on the Logic Before Authority channel. Okay, if you want to switch over there real quick, you can just you can do that if you choose. It says, have you ever thought a DNC was okay at any point in your life? And I want to point out again that for those of you that are just showing up, that this is the DNC, okay? This is the DNC party. This is the, what you're looking at here is you're looking at Satan worshipers or Baal worshipers. Baal was the god of what they believed to be the god of fertility, and they had to sacrifice to him in the pre-New Testament days is what they did. They did it because they believed that they had to. And they continue to do it because they don't believe in Jesus Christ. They do not believe in Yahushua HaMashiach, that he ever walked upon this earth, or Yeshua Christos, which is Greek. They don't believe he ever walked upon the earth. But he did. They don't understand how he could have. How they think about it in carnal ways, like, how is it possible from a virgin? They think about it in carnal ways, like there has to be some kind of penis involved in order for creation to take place. And I say to that is, well, how did the first man get here? The first woman get here? How did we get here? How did it get started if it wasn't something immaculate? It's kind of like the old argument of what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? But there are many times in the Bible where it says that God entreated with a woman that was unable to bear a child, and then she was able and did bear children a number of times in the Bible, including the situation of Christ. All right, so let's look at a few things here, because I wanted to just kind of look around at a few things. First thing I want to do is say thanks to Christopher for sending this photo. He took this outside of his door last night. He lives, I believe, in Vermont. I appreciate you sending this in, Christopher. If you would like to send in photos that you take, you can send them to this number. You can text any photos If you want to send me a video of something, if it's a link, you can text it to this number. But if it's a actual video that you've recorded and you don't have it uploaded somewhere, then you would need to email it to me. And if that don't work, we have to get more creative if it's a really large file. But you can also text your supernatural stories to this number. You can go on the website, TheSupernatural.Show, and you can submit your story there. There's a place on there. Or, like I say, you can also just text it to me here. If you do text it, let me know if you'd like to come on the show with me and be able to tell your story live here in the studio with everybody, okay? Let me know. Okay, so now let's look at, I want to bring this up because it is relevant, it is important, and it is symbolism of multiple things. Let's open up this image so you can see a little bit better what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, most of you will recognize this as a lotus, of course. And Kamala in ancient Sanskrit means lotus. And here on this channel and on my Logic Before Authority channel, of course, I release videos where I've done great, extensive research into the lotus, because I got led to that because of the occult animated video I picked out. And they show the lotus in there, and the lotus blooming and splitting, or an apple, being dropped, rolling across the floor, bumping into Satan's foot, and which is depicted as Barack Obama, which happens to mean I saw Satan fall from heaven like lightning in Hebrew, which is intentional that his name means that, which is why his campaign slogan was, let's see if it's on here. Oh yeah, it's right here. Let's see here. You remember Barack's campaign slogan? It was, "Yes, we can." There we go. Now it's, "Yes, she can." Now, when you took "Yes, we can" and we put it into an audio application and you play it backwards, it says, "Thank you, Satan." Does that make it pretty clear, knowing this, that Barack Obama means I saw Satan fall from heaven like lightning? And when you take his slogan words, "Yes, we can," and you play it backwards, it says clearly, "Thank you, Satan." You can pull that up on YouTube and watch videos of it. I've even done it on my channel before live and showed that's what it says. So, no matter what name they want to call it, Baal or any other fallen god, because Satan is one of the fallen angels, and he was followed by a bunch more, right? Happens to be 33%. And how many satellites is Starlink putting up? 33,000. And how many people sit in the starship that they claim to be building, that they're going to go to Mars on? How many people fit in it? 7 head. How many heads did the dragon have? 7. How many horns did he have? 10. How many rockets has Elon developed? 10. The 10th one is for the Starship, the largest rocket ever built. A rocket is a horn. It's symbolic for a horn. It's also symbolic for a dragon, breathing fire, blowing fire out, which is part of why he calls his rocket program Red Dragon, or the Dragon. And he dresses up like the dragon. Yeah, old Elon. Still fooling people, just like these people are fooling people continuously. But I know that many of you guys are not fooled anymore. And speaking of not fooled anymore, let's look at the results so far on the poll I've got going in the comments on the Logic Before Authority channel. Have you ever thought a DNC was okay at any point in your life? 33% said yes, 67% no. That's better than I thought it would be, actually. That's 21 votes. Why don't y'all guys, anybody else? I know there's hundreds of people here. If you want to participate in the polls, you have to go over to the Logic Before Authority channel. It's live right now too. And while you're there, subscribe, and also subscribe to the Supernatural.Show channel, because the same exact content does not go on both channels. There's different content. There's some unique content that will go on the Supernatural.Show that will not go on Logic Before Authority. And there's content that goes over there that will never come on the Supernatural.Show. They both have kind of their own vibes, I guess you could say. And I'm kind of trying to stick with that in one form or another, at least. So, why not give me a little thumbs up, guys? It does help somehow or another. And what'll help more than that is to share the video. Share it any way you can. Just take a few moments out of your time and share it so that other people can understand some of the truths that I'm speaking of. Okay. So now let's look at a few of these. I just wanted to look at some of the products that Kamala is sharing. It says, when we fight, we win. Who is we? They like to use the term together. Like, they use it a lot in a lot of their slogan stuff, together. And what it means is to get her. And who is her? The seed of Christ. The ones that still hold his testimony. Okay? They want us gone. And honestly, growing up, I could have never imagined the truth in that statement that I just made, and the extent that they're going to try to make this happen. Like I said, even running on the platform of reproductive rights. That is their number one platform. I mean, really? This is all this is about, is whether we can kill the children or not. What sick planet are these people from? And I say that jokingly because there are no other planets, okay? There are only things that we don't understand. All right, so let's look here. I've got some other things, a lot of other things actually I want to show you here. We were talking about the lotus flower and how it's depicted. And we know I Pick Goat is all about, it's biblical. It even shows through symbolism in there, the woman clothed in the sun with the moon under her feet, about to give birth. The apple drops, the seed drops, it rolls across the floor, bumps into the foot of the dragon. And it goes on to show the dragon spewing and the whole story. The earth opening up its mouth, and the fire and the water entering into the earth, and then ultimately it depicts the birth of the Antichrist coming from that, in which the event that will lead to that, I believe, has happened already, which is the eclipse we just witnessed back on April 8th. That was, I know some of you say, well, that wasn't a real eclipse. I have pondered and pondered and pondered to try to get my mind to recognize how that could not have been a real eclipse. And the only thing that makes me go, with it at this point is the fact that it went dark twice. That is a fact. I've done videos on it. They're on this channel with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of testimonies that, yes, they noticed it went dark twice during the April 8th eclipse. That is somehow technically impossible, which makes it supernatural. Okay. It got dark twice, but that eclipse was the opening of the door, the point of creation, the gateway, the portal, whatever you want to call it, that allowed the spirits and the Antichrist spirit itself to come down once again. And I don't know how it's going to all play out, but the Bible probably does a pretty good job of explaining a lot of it. But it's going to be an interesting ride to see it all. And as we are watching it all, please remember, don't have no fear. You know, what are you afraid of anyways? We're all going to die. Why not die in glory and in faith than as a coward in the corner? Stand in the face of it, is what I would say. There's been so many times in my life that I should have died and I was spared, that I know that it's God's choice as to whether his people live or die, or when they die. And I also know that dying is not what we've been told. It's not something to be terribly fearful about. It's something that we've been made terribly afraid of, right? Dying. All right, let's keep looking here. I wanted to look at a little bit more of her products, and then I've got some other things I want to show you that are pretty interesting. It says the first but not the last. Okay, I hope it's the last we'll ever see of you. History is watching. Just some of their slogans and imagery they're using. I mean, they use all this love imagery and stuff, you know. See the hearts over here, the flowers, and here's hearts over here. But yet their platform they're standing on is DNC's, the Democratic National Party, or the other word that is used for killing a baby in the womb. It's called a DNC. And that is why they are called the DNC. That's not a coincidence, guys. It's not a coincidence. All right, a few more of these, and then we're going to move on to some other stuff here. Yes, she can. I can't wait to actually pull it up in a program and record it and play it back. When I do that, I'll record it and put it out where y'all guys can hear what it says. I imagine it's very, very close to Thank You, Satan. Got pictures of herself as a child. I mean, somebody said earlier, they said in the comments, I think it was like one of the first comments, they said a more moral thing to do would be for people to choose to be sterilized. If they don't want children in the world, sterilize themselves. But the problem with that is that that does not include the killing of a child. The killing, the snuffing out of an innocent life. It's a black, dark magic thing that they're trying to do, okay? And they need that killing of innocence. They must have that. So they'll never be promoting, just sterilization. They will promote it because they want to stop all life any way they can, okay? They are literally antibiotic, anti-life. But they're not against their own lives. They're just against somebody like me. But I've been speaking out about this stuff for 15 years live on YouTube. Okay. 15 years I've been doing this. And every day of the week kind of doing it. If I ain't putting out a video, I'm doing research. And I've been doing it for 15 years. And in the beginning, I was nervous. I was a little frightful. I was a little scared. I didn't know what to expect when I stood up against the beast and do war with it. But over time, I lost all that fear because Father reminded me over and over that it's his choice as to whether I die or live at any particular moment. And there is nothing they can do. They could put a gun to my head and pull the trigger, and it would not fire unless it was God's will. They could take me out in the middle of the ocean and throw me off a boat, and I would not drown unless it was God's will, because that's how much control he has. That's why we can stand in our faith, because he is all powerful. And when you stand with him, no one can stand against you. No weapon wielded against you will prevail. I'm still here after 15 years standing up to these jerks, telling them the truths right in their face. No, they don't like it, and they've penalized me, but they can only penalize you where you engage them. If you play with their toys, like playing with YouTube, they can penalize you. They can penalize you at the bank, which they've done heavily with me. They can penalize you in other ways. Anytime you play with their toys, that's where they can get you. But they can't snuff you out unless you've made a blood oath with them in the past. Then apparently they feel like they have the right to kill you if you did a blood oath. Hopefully no one here has ever done that. All right, let's keep going here. I wanted to make sure you guys knew that the DNC is called the DNC, and why it's called the DNC. It's because of this, that they stand for the sacrifice of children, of innocent life. And of course, the DNC itself, to prove this point, was offering free DNCs at the DNC convention. Yeah, that's right. Yep. All right, let's see what else we got here. There's a pretty appropriate image, wouldn't you say? Another appropriate image. And check this out. And I did see a clip of this. I went back to find it, and I didn't catch it. I couldn't find it real quick before I started the show, so I can't show it to you. You can look it up. But Oprah tells DNC crowd there is no American dream without abortion. Now, for any of you YouTube moderators, I'm only saying what the stuff says on here. I'm only saying what they're saying. They're proud of it. So don't ding me for something they're proud of it. No American dream without abortion. And I looked at some of the comments down here, and for the most part, the high majority of the comments underneath something like this, like this one says, that is demonic. America has and will continue to pay a huge price. Unfortunately, the people who go along with this stuff and continue to go along with it, you're going to pay a huge price. But we, the true children of God, the chosen ones, are not going to. We will be provided for. That's all you need, is that faith and that knowing. So, and that is a real thing. She did do that, which is crazy, but she did it. Now, one of the things I started looking into the guy's name, that his name is Ruth, Routh, Ruth, which is a phonetic spelling of the word where it also can be also spelled Ruth, Ruth. And I started looking up Ruth when it comes to the Bible, and what it came back, what it pulled me right to is the Canaanites. And the story of Baal, the actual Ruth word, that led me to that. And I've never done an extensive study about this Baal deity character, but I do know just from what I can tell that it's just a fallen angel. It's a demonic angel. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. All these names, they give all these things throughout antiquity, going all the way back into Egyptian times when they called them Ra and all these other names, Isis, things like that. They're all still just fallen angels. Okay? They're all still, it's the same group of people with all the names changed, or not people, but deity, fallen angels. It's the same group, but just names being changed due to religious cultures over time. Okay? And just different cultures in general. Let's see here. Yeah, we already looked at that. They love their right to kill babies. I said earlier too about there being two gods in the Bible, and there's quite a bit of evidence of it. But like when it talks about Baal in the Bible, and there's some I tell you what, I'm not going to get into that too deep today. I need to be better prepared, just being honest. I can see some of the evidence, but I want to be better prepared, because the last thing I want to be is blasphemous. Okay? So we'll have to come back to that story. And some of the things I've got up here is related to that. Now, I wanted to show you something. You see this? This is a statue of so-called Baal. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. You can't see it. What am I doing? Dummy Daniel. Okay, this is a statue of Baal. And I want you to notice a few things. I want you to notice that he's holding up his right fist. Fight, fight, fight. What, you think that's a coincidence? I want you to notice too that the shape of his head is conical, right? It's like a cone, conical. And let me show you a couple of the images. You see what he has in his hand that he's fighting with? It is hang on here. This is important. So I want to get it right. Yeah, let me move this right here. Okay. So there are some tools that are used for a DNC. And hold on. A dilation and curettage procedure is also called a DNC. It is a surgical procedure in which the cervix, lower narrow part of the uterus, the cervix, is dilated, expanded so that the uterine lining, endometrium, can be scraped with a curette, a spoon-shaped instrument, a curette. Okay? Now, you see what he's got in his hand? It's a spoon-shaped spoon-shaped instrument in his hand, right here. What they would do is what they do is they take a small rod and they insert it in the cervix, and then they stretch the cervix, and then they take that one out and they put a larger one in. So it's like a bundle of rods or a bundle of sticks. Okay. And you'll notice that this guy also has a bundle of sticks in his hand. With one that's got like a spear on the end. I don't think that it's a coincidence. And I also don't think the fact that his hat that he is depicted as wearing looks like the uterus. Can you see that? That hat, if you were looking at it from top down, would look like the uterus, or the cervix, excuse me. Okay. The cervix entrance would be right up here. So, yeah. And you see here it is depicted like that again. And I could probably study the photo and see some more. But we have the tools being symbolized here, being held by what is claimed to be an image of Baal, the DNC god. Now they call him Baal, but again, what we're ultimately talking about here is we're talking about Satan. And I am saying that both sides, the RNC and the DNC, they're two wings of the same dragon. Okay, the same dragon, the great red dragon, Satan, whatever you want to call him, because they both have the same goals. It's just one person is seeing a better story than the other one to lure you that direction. Are they not? Here's another depiction as well. And you can see he's got that conical head thing going on again. And you can see where it looks like he should be holding some kind of a tool in his hand, because there's a hole in his hand. Here's some more information and another image, of course, of what they say, the symbolism that they depict him in. There it is again with his, what's it called again? The curette. Interesting, they call it a curette. So it's a small cure. The word curette right here. Et means small, a small version of something larger, like a cigarette to a cigar, okay? Or like a planette to a plane, something much larger, which is why they call the one we live in the planette, because it's a smaller version of something larger. And here is the curette, spoon-shaped instrument that they depict Baal holding. See, I've got a few other things here. Let's see if I want to read this. Well, maybe I'll read this. Now, this is not my writing, and I'm just reading it, is all I'll say, okay? It says that the parallels between the descriptions of Baal and the Lord are striking. However, the Ugaritic texts are significantly older than any section of the Old Testament, even if one assumes Mosaic authorship of the Pentateuch, however you pronounce that, and the Canaanites were in Mesopotamia long before the Israelites conquered the Promised Land. Consequently, the writers of the Old Testament in several instances also almost certainly borrowed material from Canaanite literature, which has caused more than a few people to speculate that the Lord must simply be the Israelite version of Baal. And it kind of leads me along that, because I just can't help but see that somehow through interpretations it's not clarified as well as it should be as in the Bible as to when they're talking about the Almighty God and when they're referring to this Lord, because Baal defined means Lord. Okay. And yeah. So, but anyways, that's like I said, we'll get more into that coming up very soon. All right, let's check on our poll. See what y'all guys are saying here. So we've got 41 votes. That's pretty good. And it says, have you ever thought a DNC was okay at any point in your life? 34% say yes, and 66% no. And of course, I agree with, I have to answer that yes, at one point I considered maybe like rape or something like that, but not anymore, because I now understand that it's not our right. It's not any man's right to choose whether a child gets a chance or not. No matter if that child only lives to be, let's say, 5 years old. Will that child's 5 years of life have any impact on what can go on this in this world? And kind of makes me think of what's called the butterfly effect, meaning even when a butterfly flaps his wing, it has an effect throughout that resonates throughout the entire world. Whether you can see it or not doesn't mean it is there or not. If that makes sense to you. All right, so let's end the poll and look at some of the comments here. See what y'all guys are saying. Ginger B says it's fallen angels disguised as humans, which they are not. Nephilim demons. Yes, that's what I agree with you on that, Ginger B. Mike Smith says exactly, Daniel. They are actors playing opposed sides while working to achieve the same goals. Yep, just the left and the right wing of the dragon. You know, that's one of the things that makes it so hard for people, because they can't believe that it's such a huge stage, because it is, and it's hard for them to do it, but they do it. Just like Young and the Restless comes on 5 days a week. I'm sure it's difficult to film 5 episodes for the last how many years? Every day of the week, basically. But they do it. And they do it on television. They do it with all these events. They run drills. They plan it. They organize it. They control it. And they've got enough power that they can absolutely control it. Rarely will anything go wrong with these events. Really, what normally goes wrong is someone like me shows up and exposes them. Just like I did when there was the event back on December 14th, 2013. It was up in a little town called Newtown, Connecticut. It was a suburb there called a Sandy or a Rusty Hook. Okay, I think you know what I'm talking about. They claimed all these children got killed, and they were so upset about it. They were raging, jumping up and down, and children are dying, and children are dying, and children are dying. And yet, here we are, and their president is running on killing children. That's the basis of her campaign. But yeah, boy, they were jumping up and down. Then when Obama even went there, sitting there. And what happened? I exposed them that their fundraiser was up 2 weeks early on the internet live. I exposed that those same children they claimed were at the Super Bowl 3 months later singing as the Sandy Hook chorus. You can look at those photos right now. You'll find those same children. The only difference is that the children, they showed us pictures of the children when they were like kindergarten age, first grade age. The children were actually already 6 years older. than they were in the images they showed us of the children that supposedly had something bad happen to them at this so-called school that had been closed for many years, that they tore down immediately and rebuilt a nice big fancy one now. I also exposed that they paid off on December 25th of about 2009, somewhere there, between there and 2011. On Christmas Day, December 25th, they paid off everyone's home and city properties in the Rusty Hook community. I'm changing the name there. In the Rusty Hook community, they paid off everyone's homes. It was on the tax records, and I went and found it and proved it. Yeah, that made them mad. That made them mad. They smacked my channel down and caused me a lot of problems. But I'm still here. They almost got me, but not quite. I'm still here. Still doing Father's work. All right, let's see here. Mike Smith says, absolutely, a child here can have an effect. Yeah, that's exactly right. We don't understand the ways of our Father in heaven and know what his intent is with any child that he was to send here. Even just to come into this world for a minute, an hour, a day, a week. Who are we to say that child does not deserve a chance? What if someone would have done that with us? Someone said, what if they'd have said Daniel didn't deserve a chance? What if my mom had gotten convinced or something and she got rid of me, DNC'd me? Have I had an effect on the world? I absolutely know I have. I'm streaming live right now on 8 channels all around the world. And I know that I've had influence on many of your lives out there because I've gotten many letters. I could pull out a sack of letters down here that I've got. I keep all your letters that you send to me. Matter of fact, I've got some recent ones here as well. See, got these from y'all guys pretty recently. DC Hodges, Maximus. Got a letter from Tony as well. And I keep all your letters. And I appreciate the letters you guys send me. I enjoy reading what you would like to share with me. One day I'm going to try to get it where I can respond to all these letters, but I'm only one man, and it's kind of hard to do all the research that I do and do that and do everything else that I have to do. But if y'all guys don't mind, please share this video so that other people will get a chance to see it. And maybe we can change the mind of just one person so that they realize they're being either deceived or realize that he's right. We don't have the right to take the life of a child. I mean, there's no difference, because see, when a sperm enters an egg, there's a spark that takes place. That is the crossing of the spirit. Okay. And it's there with that child as it develops, and that child has its spirit after that spark takes place. If you don't believe me, look up human egg fertilization spark, and you'll see a spark. I'm going to edit me a video so I can just click on it and show that anytime I want to, because I think that's important. So hopefully we have some effect with what we're doing. Again, guys, I hope that when I started this channel, I wanted y'all guys to tell your stories, your supernatural stories that have happened in your life. And a lot of you have, and I even have basically a book that's available on the Supernatural Show product store on YouTube that you can download. It's the ebook of all the stories that are submitted. It's like, let me see here. It's 43 pages currently, and I just added another story from Susan Donahue on into the book. And I'm gonna read it real quick. It was a short story, but it was she might be going to come on the show and talk with us and explain it. But what she said is that she said, "Hi, Daniel. I was having a real rough day, and I asked for a sign just before I began meditating. After I finished the session, I opened my eyes, and the apple tree in my garden appeared to have light orbs, roughly the size of Christmas ornaments, hanging throughout. Then a larger reddish orb the size of a soccer ball appeared. It felt as though I was communicating telepathically with the orb. I felt assured that all would be fine. Then poof, the orbs were all gone. It was an incredible experience. I've got pics, but my system was super slow, to send them over. But Susan, you can text them to me if you can work that out. If you got those on your phone, you can text them to that number right there, of course. And I appreciate you sending that in to me. Susan's been a viewer and a supporter of the show for quite a long time now. And with that, I would ask too for y'all guys, if you're new here or maybe you've been around for a while, consider contributing in some way to this work. Like I said, I've been doing this 15 years. I haven't done any other work. This is all I've been doing. And it ain't easy. And there's people that go out there, the highest paid people in the world are the people that can lie the best. Like actors. See, actors are liars. They're very, very good at deceiving. They can pretend to be someone they're not and convince you and be convincing at it. And then you have politicians. They're liars. That's all they do is lie and deceive, just like actors. And here I, and people like myself, and I could name off a number, we all struggle, but yet we still slip by. We make it somehow just a little bit. But consider maybe subscribing to becoming a member of the YouTube channel, or maybe go over to the TheSupernatural.Show website and become a member there. There's several different options over there that you can choose. And of course, there are links to like my PayPal, Cash App, my Zelle that connects between bank accounts, like for instant transfers, and my mailing address, which is a P.O. box, is down below the video as well. And a lot of you have contributed and supported my work for about 8 years now, I think. Somewhere around there, maybe even 9. And that's how I've been able to survive. And there's been a lot of you. And for every person that's ever donated anything, you really don't get a lot of thanks out of it when you donate. But there's one God that knows that you supported his work that he was using me to do, because this is what I do. This is who I am. If you come and sit on the porch with me right now, I'd talk to you the same way. I'm the same person no matter where I go, to the grocery store or anything I'm doing, and the people I deal with, family members, I'm the same person. And so I live this. This is just me. So I appreciate it. At a minimum, if you are not able to participate in supporting this work, simply share the video. Give it a thumbs up. Do something. because it all helps. Another way you can help is anytime you're leaving comments on other videos, it don't cost you a dime, and all you do is type in TheSupernatural.Show. That's the website URL, TheSupernatural.Show, just like you see right here. And you can do it like that, or you can do at The Supernatural Show and leave the dot out. But what it does is it drives traffic towards my direction. And it's a way that's very easy for y'all guys to do, is to just type that in there in the comments on any video that you're watching. Okay? And that helps. And that is also just as valuable as contributing bread, so that I have bread to eat, and water, so I have water to drink, and so that I can take care of the little bit of family that I do have that hasn't been ripped away from me. So, well, guys, with all that being said, I am going to go ahead and get us on out of here for today. I love you all. I appreciate everything that you do to help support this work. And I can tell you that our Father in heaven loves you too. And he's given you free will, just like your father does when you leave the house, when you get old enough and you go out. And here you have free will in this big wide world. But that same Father would like you to come back to him one day and start talking to him and tell him what you've learned. Daddy or Father, you remember when you told me this? Don't do this, or don't get mixed up with those kinds of people. You were right, Father. And I'm sorry, Father, because I got mixed up with him for a little while. Father wants us to come back and talk to him. And you can talk to him like he's your father, because he is. All right. I love you guys. And I've only got one more thing to say. Don't be a sheep.